Hi, I'm Mrs. Vallon, and today I'm going to be doing an exploded isometric version of the slotted lantern design. So here is the design that I drew in isometric in the previous video. Now I'm going to do what I did with the other design, which you take it from the original and then you create an expanded version like it's an assembly drawing. So that's what we're going to do with this one today. Alright, now I've begun already, just taking those away, and of course I've got underneath my isometric grid, and I've actually taped this down to the desk just to make it easier so things don't move around. So I've started with the central piece. That's not going to move, that's going to stay, and I've tried to keep it just below center because I need space around it for all my other pieces. So I've got my landscape page and I've created this as the fixed bit right in the middle just below center, so I've got a bit where I can push each of these away from that bit to show how they sit together. Now I've done that central piece. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a very large cylinder around the outside that I can use to sort of guide where everything is going to go, and I pushed the next cylinder out like 3 sort of grid squares, which is actually about 30 mils. So I've moved out there and I've done a mark from that middle piece. I've gone out 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3. Now I can just lightly do my isometric diamond, inside which we're going to do the, I guess you would call it, cylinder. So it's going to be a large cylinder. So that's where it's going to sit if it was on that plane. But as you know, it doesn't. It has a bit below and a bit above. Now I took this, originally, it's useful to keep, to have done this first and use it as reference. So I took this up, if I have a look at it, I took it up 2. So if I go up down 2 squares, 1, 2, that's actually where this diamond should sit. So fortunately, I put everything in the right place. I need to have some height, of course, in my cylinder. And because it was 8 tall, I'm going to go up 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is where I'm going to have the other cylinder, and it's actually the other isometric diamond. So it's going to be up at that height. Not doing a great job of this one. Clean that line up. So I can square that up so I know where it's going to end, and it's going to, ooh, how close do I get? It does go off the page at the top a little. That's okay, because being a cylinder, and it's going to taper in at the top. I might stretch that. Oh, I don't need to. And that's going to go from there out. Now the reason I'm doing this is so I can you know, line it up with if it was like expanding out, like it was a circle pushed out from a central axis. So each bit is going to get pushed out from like a central axis point through that middle. So everything is equal distance away from this axis. Excuse me. All right. There it is. So that's it. Now I do need to do a few things, like I need to do my circles on the top, and you know, things like this. So I'll do the circle on the top. If you recall, I pushed this in, so it's got a bit of a taper. So I'm going to have to drop that in only by the amount of taper that I dropped that in, if I recall. Go back. That's why drawings are all about planning. So I dropped this in. So if we look at the side view, I dropped it in like 2 pieces. So I'll probably end up coming in 2. So 1, 2, so to about there. So the taper will end up being sitting on this smaller isometric circle. Okay, so let's now do the circle itself. Okay, and it's going to taper out to the bigger one. We'll do a big one here, and of course it's going to say big at the bottom as well. Okay, maybe you can visualize it, maybe you can't yet. Anyway, I'll keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 3.5 is halfway. So halfway. 2, 3, half. 1, 2, 3, half. 1, 2, 3, half. Always helps to have those little points, so I can do my arc inside that. And for these bits, it's useful to find like halfway again. So you can, if you drop that down, it's going to come to that edge. So find that halfway, it's actually going to come to that edge. So you've got to push it to touch that edge. There you go. All right, so that's going to be the inner taper, and it's actually, it's not very thick, you can see. So it's actually only going to become in probably about that much. So as far as this shape goes, I could do one that mirrors the shape because it's so close on the inside. It's like a concentric ellipse. I think that's the thing. Alright, so now you can see that's got the thickness there. That's about the thickness there. So this one here, is that center? Is it the center? Interesting. So this one's going to be pushed out there, and this is the top face here, top face here, and top face here. And of course you've got the other little top faces around the edge. Okay, so you can see I've just created those top little faces. I didn't need to do that because I haven't even boxed in yet. It's really safer to box in, and then we can get on with that. Alright, let's keep boxing in. Okay. Now the pieces are going to all be sitting out from this bit, so you can see that that is all much wider. Okay, so I'm going to do a circle here, and really the circle down the bottom is probably even more important. So let's just count this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11. So yeah, 9.5. Oh, sorry, 10.5. 1, sorry, 5.5. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's halfway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Halfway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Never eat coconut right before you're going to do a video. Excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is a very big arc. I'm going to go all the way around and do this one. Okay, again, if I was going to halve this, so 1, 2, somewhere in between about here, it's going to hit that point, that halfway point. So there. So let's just push that in to that point. Same over here. Push that to that point. Okay, and then of course it's going to do the same down here. So that point is halfway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No wonder that's halfway. There we go. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. That big arc. And this is just going to drop straight down from the edge, and I can just wrap that in. Drop it down, wrap it straight in. Okay. Now, if I was going to sort of like do the cylinder all the way up the top, I could extend this cylinder up, and I could do the big circle, but as you know, it does get smaller. Now, let me box in one side. Okay, let's just box in one piece, and then we'll, go from there, I guess. Now, we know the top face. There's also one here. Let's go with this front bit, I guess. It's probably pretty easy. This one that's closest to us. It's going to be literally straight down. We're not really going to see anything of this piece, even though it's pulled away from the central shape. There's nothing more that gets revealed. It's really in the other pieces. So that one's just there. Okay, now it's just moved out a little. This next one, still straight down. Now it's going to come out to this middle bit like it did before. So this one is going to come to here. Oh my God. Okay, so I realized what I did. I've actually put the circle on the inside instead of the outside. So I've actually was meant to do the concentric I don't know, ellipse on the outside. That's why it was like, why does the taper feel like bigger than it was in my original design? So that was my mistake. Yeah, so just trying to make this, cheating a little bit by doing it without actually constructing my diamond. As long as I keep sort of equal distance as I go around, which done an okay job of, not the best job in the world, okay job. Alright, now I'm going to give that another shot. So now that I've got my point here, I'm going to come from these points down to here. That looks better. Yeah, and that's going to come down all the way to the bottom. Much better. Okay, that looks more accurate to what I've got going on here with that, you know, thing there. Okay, so let's do this one here. So this comes out from the center again, which is, I think that was my corner, any of those. So from there, so now down to here, a bit wonky, and there, keeping my angle now, and then straight down all the way. All right, that's better. Now here I've got these bits that are straight outside, and they're going to come to that point, that very outside tangent point. Okay, and that's going to come straight down now and across and straight down, and from there across. Okay, so I can start to see a little bit more of what's going on. These bits, I'm going to see the inside edge. This is just going to be like this front edge. It's just, I'm not going to reveal much more about it. It's just going to be a pretty much straight line. Here. Okay, so these are going to just drop straight down. That should go to there. Too much. And that to there. And straight down. Okay, that'll disappear a little behind there. I'll have to decide if it's going to be visible. It might be. Might see a little bit of that. Whoops. Yep. All right. Now I boxed in. It's starting to look clear to me. I know it might feel like it still is not 100% clear to you, but obviously as the person making decisions about pieces, I can start to see that I've pulled everything out. Now I do need to put in my notches to show where, you know, this bit fits into that. So I'm just going to do small notches, show my intentions. This one's going to be here. As far as how it all joins together. Yep, not going to see that. And that's going to be hidden a bit. Alright, and that's it. And then I've got my leg sort of shape underneath. Give it a bit of feeling like it's not just sitting flat on the bench, like it's elevated a bit. That's it. Okay, I'm going to firm in. Okay, so I've had a go at doing my final drawing, and you can see I've gone over it with a 0.2 outline. I did make a few little errors that I had to fix up, so I had to use a bit of whiteout because I did, you know, some lines with my outline pen that I weren't meant to. So I used a little bit of whiteout tape to remove those lines and went back over them with the outline. I can't render it, the whiteout, it just will not render, but if I wanted to render, I could photocopy this and render the photocopy. have a go. It's a trickier drawing than the final isometric, but it's really worth trying. It's quite satisfying if you get something that looks like it's an assembly drawing. With exploded isometrics, you always have to label your pieces. So I've got here 8 vertical slotted faces, because these are 8 identical pieces. So if someone was getting this in a box or a bag, they'd be able to identify these pieces. And we've got the 1 slotted base, and they'd know what they were getting and how. This shows how it all fits together. That's it. Good luck.